Welcome back to Momentous Struggle, a Star Wars Shatterpoint podcast. On today's episode, it's night where we're recording, so I'm going to say tonight's episode, we are going to go ahead
Spooky
and,
episode.
right? Yeah, we're going to go ahead and talk about something that I talked about when I first started the podcast before Aubrey ended up joining me, and that was the primaries that came in the core box. So we're going to go and take a look back at the primaries, revisit what we think about them based off of where we are in the game and everything along those lines. So let's go ahead and jump into it. And as always, joining me is Aubrey. How are we doing today?
Oh, hey. Well, this is the second time I'm seeing you, Todd, because we actually played a game of Shatterpoint today, and then you had to go take care of the kiddos, and I had to, yes, take care of the fiance. That's what we'll call it. That's what we'll call it. So we are doing a late night episode. Usually we record this in the morning, so it's it's different. I've got a drink with me this time. Have some screwball here. We're doing an after hours special inadvertently.
Inadvertently. Yeah, and I won't be available to record tomorrow because I'm going to be playing in an LVO qualifier tomorrow. It's a 5 round MCP tournament, so I will be indisposed all day tomorrow and not be able to play. So I'm going to be running my Guardians of the Galaxy team with Cosmic Ghost Rider Frank Castle, so it should be fun to play. Looking forward to
Yeah,
it.
I know you've been talking about getting lots of reps in with this Cosmic Ghost Hunter, which ironically, the only thing I know about Cosmic Ghost Hunter is that it must have something to do with Cosmic Spider-Man.
No, no, it's
So,
Cosmic Ghost Rider. It's Cosmic Ghost Rider, and it's Frank Castle when he becomes Ghost Rider. So it's the Punisher.
oh,
It's the Punisher when he becomes Ghost Rider. So there is a whole comic book
is this
series
like
on.
a what if? Is this like a
No, it's
what
not.
if episode?
No, no, he
What?
was.
When does Frank Castle become Ghost Rider?
You'll have to read the comics. It's
Oh,
a really good.
comic books.
It's real.
Oh, comic
But
books.
he's really good in the game, and he's a pretty cool character. So, yeah, looking forward to playing him tomorrow, and jumping into that. But yeah, no, we had a fun game today. I and you wanted to prepare for today's episode, so went back and played a couple primaries, and I decided to just play Vader, and it was pretty. Vader did his Vader stuff, but it was a fun game. I had fun playing it.
Yeah. Yeah, you wounded every single one of my units, I believe, if I'm recalling correctly.
That sounds
Yep,
about
you
right.
wounded every single one, but I ran it back with I want because I had never actually played with Ahsoka and Maul and the Mandos, which was kind of one of the early teams in the core box that people like to test out. And Ahsoka did work. I feel like her ability to mitigate Vader did help my side of the struggle, but it was just one of those games where a little bit of dice going against me and a lot of bit of Vader doing Vader things. So, but those, I mean, really, the MVP of that game was Magna Guards, right? Those Magna Guards were doing a lot of work.
Yeah, their pushes, everything that the Magna Guard do. I mean, they hit hard. I don't think I ever used the Vader ability to take damage and do it to roll extra dice. I don't think I ever used it on them, and they still were solid. They still, I mean, did work. I mean, they pushing people off points and being able and their expertise chart, just being able to sit there and turn every expertise into a crit is ridiculous to begin with. So
Oh, yeah. There was, as I recall, only a little salty about this, Todd, but I rolled five five defense, all defense. Well, I think there was some expertise involved, but I had the maximum number of defense that I could have. And remind me, how many crits did you end up
I
with?
think I had what, four that time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was pretty
Yeah,
brutal.
none of my defense mattered.
Yeah.
It's fine. It's fine. But I mean, I had a lot of fun. Again, I know we've heard this on other podcasts recently. Galactic Republic is basically the hard mode of this game. It was nice to see the synergies of the Mandalorians. They were very mobile. I mean, I was moving across the map. I never felt behind in our games, but but I mean that Vader melee list with Fifth Brother. Fifth Brother didn't even do anything that in our games, and it still felt like, oh, I'm just starting off behind if I'm not playing with Vader and Obi 2 and Fifth Brother.
Yep. Yeah,
Is
and yeah,
what it is, I
Fifth Brother
guess.
was the last card in my order deck for this game, and so he kind of just stayed in the back the entire time. Really didn't do a whole heck of a lot, but yeah, he was not needed, which was even scarier with that list that Vader, and I was running Vader uh, Maul. I wasn't even running like the Vader Grievous that seems to be the hotness right now. So yeah, well let's go ahead and jump into the podcast main topic. So we wanted to start with just talking about General Anakin Skywalker for our first one. So basically, just for those who don't remember, he is a 7 point or a 7 squad point character with 4 force, 11 stamina, 3 durability, 501st Force user, Galactic Republic, and Jedi tags. I mean, he's still a good character. He just isn't the best Anakin to take, so he kind of falls to the wayside. He's not even probably like at this point in time, not even one of the top two Galactic Republic primaries to take.
Hey, come on now. Come on now. Darth Vader killed Anakin Skywalker. He just told us this in the Kenobi show. They are not the same
Well, you
person.
can't take both of them at the same time, so yeah,
Mm.
whatever.
I mean, I would say the better Galactic Republic character to take, or sorry, unit to take, would be Darth Vader over Anakin Skywalker. Uh, why did they give Darth Vader the Galactic Republic tag? The lore side of me is dying.
That's all right.
But yeah, so that's kind of the problem. This is basically how I could sum up Anakin right now, and I'm not trying to say Anakin is bad because his identity ability is actually pretty cool. This is where the fun begins. You get to literally just move the struggle token just by in an extra space just by wounding a primary or secondary unit with Anakin, and you probably are gonna wound them if you're using I'm gonna end this. And then the each allied Galactic Republic character may heal. That ability is still amazing. The problem is Todd, why would I ever run Anakin over Vader?
Yeah.
Why?
Well,
Why would I ever do it? Because you have to pay 2 force to attack again and maybe roll badly, and Vader just says, "Nah, I'm gonna give you more dice right now. Let's go."
yeah. I mean, and in Galactic Republic, I mean, you're not Obi Wan's going to be. You're almost always taking him, and right now, Obi Mace is probably the best thing to be doing in Galactic Republic. If not Obi Lumi, probably. I mean, Anakin's great. He is an amazing beast, but he just is not really where you want to be when it comes to the primaries in Galactic Republic. He's not. He isn't bringing a lot to the table. Not like or not like Obi Wan is anyway.
Hey, I mean, even compare him to his one true bae, Queen Padme Amidala. I mean, she has the royal command, pay a force, and you can move each character in a unit, and not just dash them, but a full move. I mean, we've reached a point, and maybe I'm gonna harp on this a lot because I played with Mandalorians today, but movement is king in this game. Being able to get your people where they need to be. I mean, think about a fight. If you're talking about formations and these 5 people are getting attacked by these 5 people, you need your other group to move in there. I might be stealing some stuff from my sword class that I took earlier today, but the whole point is you got to get your people where they're going to be. It doesn't matter how powerful Anakin is if he got shoved 3 times and he's off in a corner somewhere. It's just tough.
Yeah, and you can't. One of the big things with Anakin is his identity is when he wounds. So I mean, if you find ways to take him out of the game, then his ability doesn't matter. Like I mean, there was a game that you and I played early on where I used Asajj on against him, pushed him so far away that he was just completely taken out of the game, and he just couldn't do a lot of what he needed to do. So I mean, that's one of the big things I think that we run into with Anakin is like his identity is great if you can get it to go off, but if he doesn't wound the character that he needs to wound, if he's out of a position to where he's going to be able to easily wound a primary or secondary, he doesn't do anything. That's the whole problem I think with him is that it's very specific for that to go off. And like I said, I remember I pushed him away with Asajj, and then if I only have supporting units around him, and that's his best target to wound somebody, it's not going to trigger that ability at all.
Right. I almost wish, as we're sitting here talking, because a heads up, everybody, it's going to be hot takes all night because we got the fancy drinks out now because it's nighttime. Uh, could you imagine if his identity ability was whenever you wound a primary or secondary?
Yeah,
That. Now I think we'd be talking about the chosen one here, as I'm bringing him to the table, but if he's the only one that activates that, yeah, it's hard. Now, was he great when the game came out? Of course. Brings the extra force. He does a lot of damage. Like, not trying to say he was bad. He's just getting outclassed by his darker counterpart in particular.
yeah, he's totally outclassed. I mean, even if we don't take Darth Vader into account, he's outclassed just in Galactic Republic with clone synergies and what all the other generals and Jedi masters bring. But I mean, he wasn't a Jedi master, so I guess it makes sense that he's outclassed by Obi-Wan and by Mace. It makes sense, right?
Oh, 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 that is unfair. Oh, oh, man, take a seat, young Skywalker, indeed. Whew, man. Uh, yeah. I still think there's maybe an interesting world where it's worth trying out like a Mace and Anakin list because you get so much force. But I think the problem is that Anakin doesn't really synergize. He doesn't even synergize with the 501st. Like he has the 501st tag, and yeah, like I wish you got some sort of bonus for bringing the 501st. I mean, they are the 501st, all the way from Anakin through to Vader. I mean, it's total sidebar talking about real life. As a librarian, I work in libraries. Like, we call the 501st in for like cool Star Wars events, and they come and attend like our summer reading event. Like, the 501st are iconic, and we're sitting here in this game and it's like they don't even matter except for Rex. I guess Rex matters, but Anakin and the 501st, why are we leaving him on the bench? But here we are.
Yep. No, I mean, and he is a fun character. I mean, if you're playing casual, definitely he is a fun character to play. But I mean, if you're going to a tournament and you're wanting to actually win the tournament, he's just not somebody that you're going to bring. I don't know if you would even bring him in a. I guess maybe if you're looking at like a premier list, and he's your fourth option, maybe in like a all Galactic Republic, all clone synergy type of a thing, he might make the list there. But as more units come out, it's possible that he might not even be in there. But I think he is a fun unit to play. I mean, he like if you ever do get that, I'm going to end this to go off. It's super fun. I mean, it's really thematic and everything along those lines. But he's just not there anymore as far as a top unit to for the Galactic Republic synergies, and not definitely even that clone synergies just isn't working out really well.
Hey, after listening to, I think it was the High Grounds latest episode. Ooh, you'll have to correct me if I'm wrong, but one of them was going all in talking about Cad Bane and the bounty hunters and everything. And after listening to that, I'm like, oh, there's a little bit more mobility in this. Like I'm basically bringing some bounty hunters as my final Galactic Republic list because they have that payday ability. You're like, cool, you are honorary clone troopers today, bounty hunters.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah,
So
I mean
it's
that's the nice
just
thing about bounty hunters. Yeah, they definitely can do that. They have that ability. But yeah, no, it's so and that's kind of the sad point that we're at with Anakin at least is that we're looking at bounty hunters to kind of flesh him out and everything. I don't think that's really where we want to be. But
Yeah. Hey, I'm all in favor of Anakin Obi-Wan shenanigans. If you wanna bring the Chosen One and relive that whole feeling from Revenge of the Sith novelization, go for it. But can't really recommend him if you're trying to win. Ugh.
Exactly, exactly. But yeah, no. So let's move on to the next one. And the next one I think we were looking at talking about was Asajj Ventress. So she's an 8 squad point character, 3 force, 9 stamina, 3 durability. So not as much stamina, but I personally really like Asajj. I don't know, like one of my favorite books is why am I drawing a blank? The one with her and where she is trying to assassinate Dooku. I cannot remember the name of the book off the
Uh,
top of my head.
Dark Disciple, I think.
Something like that sounds
Dark
about right.
Disciple. Yeah, Star Wars Dark Disciple by Christy Golden.
Yep, that's
That's
the
when
one.
the one with Asajj and Quinlan Voss,
Yes,
right?
yes. So that's one of my favorite Star
Yeah,
Wars
it's a
books.
very good book.
Yeah, one of my favorite Star Wars books. Just the dynamic, especially because I think with Quinlan bringing him in and like really expanding on his character is just amazing. But I really liked Asajj even more after I know now you think about Quinlan coming into the game. So, but I really do like Asajj's character. Just like she's such a unique character, and her like just complete character arc from like when we first met her till now is just simply amazing. So like that's what I like about her. So, but I mean, and I still think she's viable. Again, she's not. She has Dathomirian, she has Force users, Night Sisters, Separatist Alliance. She's still not the best Separatist Alliance character. She's fun to bring. I mean, and unfortunately, I mean, even with the Dathomirian box coming out, she probably isn't even a top 3 Dathomirian to bring when it comes to if you wanted to play that Witches of Dathomir box.
Well, I mean, she's number three. It's just a very, very distant number three.
And there's only 3 of them too, so that kind of hurts. I mean, and Dooku, and when you look at like Separatist Dooku, and Grievous are just heads and tails above the rest when it comes to Separatists. I still like running her sometimes if I want to run 2 different 8s, 8 squad point characters. But so sometimes I might run her over Dooku. And again, but that's just for casual stuff too. It's not really like if I'm trying to win a tournament, I don't think I'm going to be bringing her. I mean, what do you think about her overall though?
Sadly, always the bridesmaid, never the bride. Poor Asajj. She's an iconic character. She is, as far as I know, Disney didn't change this, but she is the one who gave Anakin his iconic scar. I mean, she's a very interesting character. The whole story arc, because I'm watching all of Clone Wars again because I've forgotten it all. It's terrible. Uh, seeing her go from this lackey that Dooku is clearly manipulating into using for his own ends, then she goes back to Dathomir, tries to save her fellow sisters, and fails dramatically. A great character, great story arc. And she has great abilities. I mean, we were raving when this game came out about force push because we had very limited options when it came to removing characters off of points. And I mean, maybe that was early days. Maybe we were underrating shove it as itself a mechanic, something that most characters had on their trees. It's just tough because of the same reasons you said. I mean, aside from the force push and the Dathomirian dexterity, which are outstanding, the synergies that Dooku has makes him often a better choice for separatists. The power of Maul, which we'll get to in a moment, makes it hard to choose her over Maul when you're talking about a Dathomirian squad. It it's just tough. Like I think Asajj is good. It's kind of like the same thing with Anakin. I'm not trying to say either of these primaries are bad. It's just I can't justify taking them when we have these better options that are just outclassing them, unfortunately.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. I mean, at least her Sith assassin ability, I think, is a little bit better than Anakin, simply because she doesn't necessarily have to wound a secondary or primary in order to at least get the heals off. But she gets more off of deal like if she takes off a primary or if she takes out a secondary. So Her force refresh if she takes out a primary is really good. You know, if she gets if she takes out a secondary, she would get a jump or a full advance. So I mean, she has some really cool like her abilities. Her like I said, her identity is really awesome. The slip away one, I those this particular type of ability I've never really been a fan of because it just there's too much that needs to happen for it to actually work, and so like it's cool if it ever does happen, but it just isn't something that ever really does happen. Riposte was great, but I found a lot of times that she would people would prefer to just put range attacks into her so that they didn't hit the riposte, and if they did, they're just like, oh, it's only 2 damage. I'm not too worried about it. As long as it didn't wound them, they didn't really care. So it's nice to soften somebody up, but it doesn't necessarily always matter. So but yeah, she's all about her two active abilities of the Dathomir and Dexterity, the Force Push. I mean, the Force Push being on her tree was always good, but the problem was that was 4 successes down. So a lot of times you didn't get to that fourth tile, that fourth success on her tree to actually get it for free. So you would end up having to pay the 2 force if she as long as she was fully healthy, and then if not, then it's like if she was wounded or injured, then you're looking at 3 force or more. So
Yeah, yeah. It's it's just tough. I cannot see myself choosing Asajj over even just Dooku because like if you compare, I mean they both have a Force Refresh, which is great, but it feels like her Force Refresh is far more limited than Dooku's. And I mean, I don't see a world where I'm gonna pick Asajj over the other options. Now, is she bad? Like, if somebody picks up the core box and plays with Asajj, no, you're not gonna have a horrible time. But if I've got other options, that's where I'm gonna go.
yeah, I mean, and that her force refreshes it only goes off if she is wounding a primary, and that's not the easiest thing for her to do. I mean, looking at her tree, on her Jarkai side is probably where she's going to be able to get the most damage, and that's only 9 damage that she's doing. That's not taking out every primary on a one hit. So that means normally she's going to either have to hit somebody that's already been softened up, or she's going after some of the more easier to take down primaries, somebody that has only like 9 total durability on them. You know, so it's or should I say stamina? So, but so it's she's just not that she's not able to one shot people very well. You know, so there's that's going to be the problem. And again, that's in order for her to hit that full 9, she has to have 6 successes. And like I was saying earlier, there was times where I couldn't even get her to 4 to get that free push or free force push. So getting her all the way down to where she's actually doing a full 9 damage was not something that was going to happen very frequently.
Right, right. You're basically pairing her with Vader at that point,
Yep.
and I mean, come on. There's better primaries to put with Vader. I mean, and compare that again, just to talk about Dooku. And I'm not trying to say, I mean, I feel like Dooku should feel like a more powerful character, again, talking about lore, but I mean, Dooku, all he asks is if a primary or secondary unit is wounded by an enemy effect.
Mm-hmm.
That's gonna happen. That's gonna happen throughout your game. It's gonna go off, and you're gonna get more force. I mean, it's so much easier than trying to maneuver. You're either softening up a target and then sending in your assassin and hoping that she gets enough dice.
Yeah,
There's
it's rough.
there's easier ways to do this.
Definitely, definitely, definitely. All right. Well, so looking at the third primary that comes in the box, the next is Ahsoka Tano Jedi No More. So the fan favorite of all fan favorites right now, especially with her show being out, she's just really awesome. She does have 8 squad points, 3 force, just like all the other ones, and this is going to be a common, pretty the common numbers for all of them. 9 stamina, 3 durability. So she's pretty much the same, but she again fan favorite type of a character. Only has 2 tags with Force User and Galactic Republic. But looking at like her, there's no synergies for Galactic Republic. She just has the tags. Or she does none of her abilities actually have anything to do with Galactic Republic in any way, shape, or form.
Right. But But here's the thing, and this is maybe meta dependent, but even in our game, there was a moment where you had an option to try and take a point from Ahsoka using Vader, and I reminded you, I was like, "All right, what's the matter? Too fast for you?" And that just completely changed your turn. You're like, "Oh, I don't know if I want to attack Ahsoka."
Yeah.
So again, Ahsoka is weaker on her, in terms of like her damage output, her stamina. She's not as beefy as some of the other primaries that we now have access to, but that one ability just switches it around. If we're living in a melee world, Ahsoka's okay with that.
Yeah.
She is perfectly fine with dealing with whatever you want to dish out in melee, and she has deflect, which we've talked about is not that strong, not outstanding, but I mean it's a little bit of extra. I'm gonna send some damage back at you, and when you think about that in conjunction with the other ability, where people are gonna be like, all right, I don't want to get in melee with Ahsoka. I'm gonna try a range attack. Nope, she's great at defense. Is that enough? Well, we know how our game went. Yeah, I still I still lost. I mean, I was playing all out of the core box for a reason. I was playing Mando's Ahsoka Maul, but it wasn't bad. It was I do think there's a world where like a lot of people are playing like Ahsoka Dooku as like the anti-Vader foil. Like we're gonna refresh Force and we're gonna what's the matter too fast for you and yada yada. I don't know if we've cracked the code on that yet, but she's still getting played.
Yeah.
The first the first two we talked about were like, I don't know if I want to bring them to the table, but I willingly chose today to bring Ahsoka to a table where I knew Vader was.
Yeah.
That's gotta give her some points, right? We're
Definitely.
playing out that whole that episode of Rebels where Ahsoka and Vader go toe to toe, huh?
Exactly, exactly. I mean, yeah, and her Fierce Protector is a really cool ability that allows her to just really move all over the table, and potentially have that 5 dice attack. So she does get to bounce around places. Being able to do three recovery actions is really awesome as well.
Right? Yeah, I was like that ability is a little wonky because you have to move in the direction of whatever unit was doing the wounding, but I mean I was able to use her to move around the map pretty good. She has decent mobility in what is it? Force speed, it's a full advance. I mean, I even though I lost today, I did not feel like, oh man, I wish I had anyone but Ahsoka on the table. No, Ahsoka did everything I wanted her to do. She was doing just fine. You just wounded a lot of my characters and were able to manipulate points. Like Ahsoka didn't feel wrong. Just you won. Oh no, I wasn't sitting here going, oh my god, I never want to play with Ahsoka ever again.
And no one ever says that because it's Ahsoka, because she's amazing. So no,
This is an after hours episode, right? Okay.
but yeah, no. I mean, she's definitely a fun character. She still has a place in the game where it's like I can see her definitely making a premier list no matter what. So I think that that's one of the things is like you can still bring in a premier list. She's still going to sit there and be a functional primary unit to put on the table, and you're not going to feel like you said you didn't feel bad about taking her. So I think that's one of the nice things about her is you don't feel bad. She's not going to be one of those heavy hitters that's going to sit there and one shot somebody, but she's going to do some pretty interesting things, and I think she's has a very secure place in the current game right now.
Yes. Yeah. Again, if you're sitting here and all you have is the core box, okay, we're kind of down on Anakin and Asajj. Okay, set them aside. But hey, you've got Ahsoka right here, and if you show up to an event with Ahsoka, you're not you might not be the strongest thing on the table, but I think you've got legs. I think you've got somewhere to go.
Definitely, definitely. But when it comes to probably the best primary, at least in my opinion, in the core box, it's definitely going to be Lord Maul. So I mean, he's 8 squad points, 3 force, 11 stamina, 2 durability. So he is pretty possible that he can take him down. But in all honesty, you're never really getting through your entire order deck more than twice in most games anyway. So he still probably isn't even going to leave the table unless you just happen to like Shatterpoint him 2 times also. So he's pretty much going to stay on the table. I mean, but he is going to take a lot of damage, and that's just part of who he is. So he does have the Dathomirian tag, the Force User tag, Scoundrels, and Shadow Collective. I'm really hoping that in future sets we start to see something where that Shadow Collective tag comes into play. That would be really cool. But I mean, so well, looking at him, I mean, he's the biggest thing with him is his identity sustained by rage. I mean, that just is like where he makes his money when it comes down to it. Because basically, he can, instead of using force, he can just sit there and take a wound. And then on top of it, for every 3 wounds he has, he gets to add another a dice to his attack. Oh, and if he does happen to be damaged, or have an injured token, I should say, he gets to add another 3 dice to his attack roll. So, and again, this is only melee, so he does have a range attack, but man, he can just add dice like crazy. And if you really want to make sure that you can pound something through, I had him with, I had him with Vader, so he could take another 2 damage to potentially like might put him over to have another like a total of 3 damage on him if you use the force to force speed, and then you take 2 damage to add 2 dice. Oh my gosh, now you're adding 3 dice. So he's pretty amazing as far as like just the sheer number of dice that he can roll, and he's not somebody who's going to tax your force economy in any way.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I mean, we were both playing Maul in our game earlier today, and I mean, Vader, of course, plays great with Maul. It's phenomenal. Like you deal extra damage to him. It's great. I mean, I was rolling 12 dice at one point, and that was without I wasn't playing Vader. I was playing Ahsoka Maul, and I was rolling 12 dice, and I was like, and in fact, I looked at you. I was like, wait, is it 11 or 12? Like, how much dice am I rolling? Meanwhile, over in the Galactic Republic, we're having to spend a force to get Obi-Wan up to 10 dice, and here you go. Maul's just like, nah, take a little more damage. Just roll some more dice. It's great. Yeah, Maul changes the whole economy, and going from my experience with Magic, anytime you can cheat on costs or get a cost for free or pay an alternate cost, it's always powerful. Congratulations, game theory. That continues to be true over here in Shatterpoint. Yeah, I'm gonna take some damage. Oh, and then it's gonna give me more dice. I'm so sad. It's so convenient that force speed on Lord Maul, and there's no place to run, adds up to 3. Oh
Yeah.
wait, how much damage? How much damage do I need to get an extra dice? All right, 3 damage. Yeah, no, Maul's great. Not to mention, I don't know who at AMG decided to make this the bane of my existence, but do you know how many times Lord Maul has pulled Obi-Wan off the high ground? Well, guess what? It happened in our game. You had Obi-2 controlling a point, and he was all by his onesie, and I'm like, I don't want to activate Mind Trick. I don't want to walk into Mind Trick. So what did I do? I pulled Obi-Wan off the high ground, put Maul up there, and then attacked Vader, or no, was
It
it
was
Magna Guard? It was
it was
Magna Guards
yeah.
or Vader.
I think it was
Attacked him
Vader.
over here. Well, in any event, my point is, my God, that being able to just pull them down, expose them, like well, I mean, Obi-2 has the immunity to expose or whatever, but the whole point is just that ability to pull them off of a point and then have your way with them. Oh boy. Oh, sorry. Again, it's an after hours episode. We're doing other stuff, but yeah,
But
no,
no,
Maul is great.
oh yeah, Maul is definitely he is a very good character. I mean, and just adding him into not just about playing with Invader, but adding him into the Dathomirian list as well. If you were to run him with the Witches of Dathomir box, he's just amazing in that box too. So I mean, And I guess the whole point is, I remember I think it was maybe 2 episodes ago, the guys over at Rogue Support did a whole intro to the game podcast, kind of just talking about, here's what the game's about, here's what it is. I mean, and kind of gave me the idea of, touching on these primaries because they are still valid. I mean, the game's still young enough to where you can still get that box and you can still have a fun, enjoyable game with all of the contents of the box. These primaries, some of them are not the best thing you can be doing in the game, but they're still viable in many ways. And Maul
Oh
is
yeah.
by far very viable. He still does a lot of amazing things. Like I said, I mean, he has really good movement with the force thing or with the force speed. Really, a really great ability where, like you were talking about, with there is no place to run. I mean, because just displacement and putting an excellent condition and expose on somebody, just really good. Being able to just roll as much dice as you want to roll. I mean, he's just a solid, solid character.
Oh yeah, yeah. I foresee that, pending any changes or new things coming out, if you roll up to a table with Maul, that's probably one of the better things that you can be doing, which is nice. Which is nice to say about a core set, because sometimes you think of core sets or core boxes, you kind of put them in the same category as like a starter deck or an intro or beginner. But I mean, I lost today, which happens. Fine. Okay. I know I tend to do a little more losing, but I'm new to these games, so it's okay. Uh, but I did not feel bad about rolling up with Ahsoka, Maul. I was running the Mando package because I wanted to get a feel for how all the Mandalorian synergies were working because as we know, I've been talking about him up and down. I want the Galactic Republic to be good so bad. I just want Obi-Wan to do the Obi-Wan things. But I didn't feel bad. I didn't feel like, oh man, you just steamrolled me. No, we went to three struggles. Like there was good back and forth, and especially in struggle one, that whole 3 points, 3 points, 3 points, 3 points.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get past this. But no, Maul is probably gonna stick around for a while, even if some of these others go by the wayside. Yeah, Maul's gonna be good.
Yeah, he has some sustainability, a lot of sustainability in the game, like, and for the exact reason that you were saying, with him just being able to cheat his abilities out and not have to go dive into that force reserves that you have. You don't have to worry about utilizing your force here. You can utilize it in many other places, and if you have other units that are force hungry, he's perfectly fine to bring with those units and everything along those lines. So definitely do like him, and I think he's going to be along to stay. I mean, and like you said, I mean, one of the other things is he can pretty much almost one shot almost every character. Like let's say on his tree, he's only going to do a max 10 damage, but if you also happen to get one expertise along with being able to do his full tree, his expertise does into damage on there as well. So he's going to be able to do 11 damage, which pretty much one shots every primary in the game except for one, being Vader. So, I mean, he's still one of those characters that can definitely take out just about any character in the game, and that's what's really kind of important about him and what makes him so good.
Oh yeah, I thought it was wild. At the end of Struggle One in our game, because you were playing Maul Vader, and you had barely used your force. You had gone through. Now, admittedly, I was trying to maneuver around Obi-2, and Obi-2 probably, like, if I had engaged with him, you probably would have ended up spending your force on Mind Trick. But still, I was astounded because I'm looking over and I'm like, you've barely used any force, and we're almost through our deck. Meanwhile, I'm over here jetpacking and using Ahsoka's abilities and doing all this stuff, and that's with I had my own Maul. I did not spend a single force on Maul's abilities those entire games. I was just taking the damage and doing the thing and doing Maul stuff. And so, I mean, your force economy is phenomenal if you bring Maul to the table. You're barely using force. Meanwhile, the clones over here are spending so much force. They're needing to tax the outlying star systems to get some more force, huh?
Yeah, no, they're way too force hungry. They that is one of the bigger issues I've seen with them is they just do not have that ability to sit there and sustain their force through the entire game. Like that is definitely an issue that we run into, and you run into a lot with them when because you play them primarily. Is that you get to the point where it's like I can't do all the things I want to do because there's just not enough of this resource to do it. And that's what makes, like you said, Maul so good is that he doesn't take that resource away from you so that you can sit there and do all the fun things and all the important things that you need to do in order to help you advance in the game.
Yeah. Yeah. No, as long as force is part of our economy, I think mall is going to have a place until they do something weird. But I don't think they're taking that away from us.
No, not at all. It's too integral part of the game, and it's definitely it adds that another layer to the game. You know, there's so many different layers of things that you need to manage while you're playing the game, and I think that would really detract if you were to take that asset away for sure.
Yeah.
Well, I
Yeah.
mean that covers all four of those of the primaries. I mean, were you any like overall? I think that my thoughts on this is that they're all still very good. Maul is definitely going to be the best one there. Ahsoka's definitely an amazing character that still is going to see play. If you decide to jump in the game or someone decides to jump in the game and pick up the core box, they're still going to be able to use that and have a very viable amount of characters to play. And I think that's one of the nice things about this game is that you're still going to have all these viable characters to play.
Yeah, and again, speaking from someone I have not played any other tabletop, wargaming games like this. This is my first foray. I know a lot of people have kind of looked at the price tag of the core box and they're like, "Ooh, that's a hefty investment," which I agree. I was the same way when I was like, "Oh, okay, I don't know if I want to commit to this." But you have to remember it gives you all the terrain that you need. Like you can play a full game out of the box, and what I like about it is that you know, this wasn't just me. I had my stepson. He was interested in this. He wanted to try it too. The core box lets you and another person fully play the game without anything else. And it's fun and it works. And again, not like that we're being disparaging of Asajj and Anakin. Asajj and Anakin are both fine. It's just that we've gotten new units and those primary units are better. But if you're looking to start off in this game, you are always going to use all of the terrain, all of the dice. There's a world where Ahsoka and Maul are still useful. They're still being used. I mean, if Anakin and Asajj are your favorite characters, you can still play with them. I want to roll after talking about this. I kind of want to roll up an Anakin and Obi-Wan game just to do the two of them together. Do I think I'm gonna win? Well, maybe if I play against another clones list, but it's still fun. It's still a good time. You're also getting the miniatures you get to paint. Like it's not bad. It's not bad. We're just talking about the good half of the box and the bad half of the box. Just let your kid play with Anakin and Asajj. It'll be fine.
No, definitely, they're definitely fun, and like you said, the hobby side of it, being able to paint and build, is definitely awesome. I mean, Anakin was definitely a fun model to sit there and build. I mean, some people have taken the green stuff and like put like a cloak on him and everything like that, made him look really cool. So there's like a lot of fun hobby things you can do with the models. So no, I think I definitely like the like all the characters. I think I even played a game against you recently where I decided to run clones because you were trying to play Vader and I ran clones with Obi Wan and Anakin, and he still felt good. It was still fun. You know, he's still a fun model, so I don't see a problem with playing any of them. But yeah, so I mean, I was like I said, pretty excited about this. I'm always excited to sit there and play these models, so definitely worthwhile. So yeah, let's go ahead and close it out. As always, I want to thank each and every one of our listeners for listening. We do appreciate it. If you want to help out the podcast, the best way to do is leave a review on whatever podcast you're listening to, whatever podcasting. I can't think of the word I'm trying to say, but wherever you listen to them,
App.
that's it
They're
too.
called apps.
All those things. I'm a boomer. I'm a boomer. Well, yeah, go ahead and leave us a review.
We used to call them applications, but
Oh,
that was too
absolutely.
long. That's too long. Now they're just apps.
On your podcast application of choice, go ahead and listen.
Oh.
So yeah, no, go ahead and leave us a review. We would appreciate it. And as always, I do want to thank you again and say, may the force be with you.
May the force be with you.